Hello everyone, welcome back to the F1.5 EU Championship. We're today for the Austrian Grand Prix and we're currently in sprint qualifying for the one shot. Let's see how this one goes. Maxon currently topping the times as Frantic is very high up. The championship rivals, of course, in Monza as Frantic managed to get ahead of the Red Bull. The Red Bull still leads the championship though. Becken is in the mix. Jericho Willis once again with brilliant performances coming up to P3. Maxon is looking to have a go at pole position here in Austria for the sprint race. They go around the final corner and they invalidate Becken. Becken's going to cross the line to take pole position ahead of Jericho Willis. What a qualifying right at the end, but what a shame for Maxon, your championship leader. It's going to start at the back of the grid. Becken takes pole position, Jericho Willis in P2, Frantic in P3. That's the rest of the grid. We'll go through the race director and we'll see you in a bit for the sprint race. Ready? Hold. Go! Who's going to get it into time? What a jump start for Winter. Off the line, I do not believe it. It's Becken taking a smooth lead into the first corner. Jericho Willis tries to muscle their way into P2 as Frantic will not be able to capitalise on that start. The rest of the cars, it's Verf, Terence in P5. Winter, of course, with that drive through, some other cars seem to have also been affected side by side with Frantic and Jericho Willis up the hill. Also the Alpine of Chocolate as Barry gets their way up on debut in LSI. It's going to be actually a further position down as they drop again, unfortunately, as the Haas now. Peanuts goes to the inside. Barry lets it go, looks for a switchback, doesn't quite get it, but it's Verf to P3 as Terence is up to P4. Jericho Willis, what happened there?
Yeah, he made a little mistake into turn 4. I was watching him and he lost 2 positions because of it, because of the switchback of Verf and Terence.
I see. That's very unfortunate, but it is very early in this race. Lap 12, we've got a pit stop already, of course, from Winter, who makes that unscheduled stop. Not really what they want to look for in this race, but it is what it is. We start lap 2 of the Austrian Grand Prix, and we get the data up on the screen right now. Everyone is on the medium tyre. It's Tom Robb staying out. Did they get a drive-through or did they get another penalty? We'll have to double-check that in a minute, but we've got Verf looking to go to the inside of Frantic. Them trying to make this work. They raced in Singapore as they fought for the win, but Maxon got the better of them in the end to strategy. Verf now showing the pace once again for the first time racing with Frantic. It's Frantic looking like the inside line almost on Becken, but didn't quite get there, and they have to slot him behind now. But it's going to be about DRS on the main straight and the second straight high, so that's going to be the best place to overtake.
Yeah, definitely. Frantic was, I think, just trying to defend from the first behind instead of attacking Becken, and that's why he slotted back in behind. But definitely turn 3 is the position to overtake.
Yeah, for sure, as we go into turn 9 for the cars further behind as Peanuts, and I don't know who that was on the inside. Peanuts has got damage, contact with Tom Rob possibly, or Brett is cool. There was a bit of a heated battle, but we're going to have to focus back with the front runners right now, as there's a big old train going into the first few corners of the lap, or the first big DRS zone, apart from the start-finish straight. No overtake's going to be done. We did get a fastest lap from the Alpine driver. Lots of people in the pit lane right now, Tom Rob and Peanuts, as I said. How's that going to affect your sprint race, Heish? Are you ever going to be able to get back into a points position?
No, if you don't get a safe car, you won't get back into the lead train. So it's kind of your sprint race over, and just keep your head down. See what you can learn for the actual race.
For sure, for sure. Now, Terence had to go defensive on Jericho Willis right there, but the Williams manages to stay ahead. Chocolate, I keep mixing that up, I do apologise, is staying ahead of Jakob. However, they're trying to get a better result than they did, of course, last time around. They gave it a good old shot in Monza. They just missed out on the DRS train, which caused them problems. This time it's another circuit with great DRS trains that can really gain you positions and good results, even if you're a little bit slower than the fastest guys at the front of the field. And currently Becken is holding out in front, and it looks like Frantic is going to try and take that away, but going defensive is Becken. It's not going to be just an easy pass. Frantic, did they get the DRS though?
No, they didn't. I was wondering if he just broke a little bit earlier to get the DRS, but in the end Becken got it back. But he decides to stay. Oh, he makes a mistake!
Oh, what a shame for Becken there, making a big mistake on lap 4. They do slot in behind the Sauber car, luckily not losing DRS. They are going to be counting their lucky stars. That was incredibly close. Just locking up the rears, or was it the fronts? I don't know. I think they thought they were carrying a little bit too much speed, and they had to kind of slam the brakes on a little bit harder, and then just, yeah, had to settle with the rear end being lost. P3 in the train at Austria. Is that going to work? I say that, P3 in the train. It's now P2 in the train again because Werfer's just lost DRS. We've got a side-by-side battle with Jakob, who backs off, but we'll have a look at maybe going for a move on Terence, who's also dropped off. So all of a sudden the train is breaking away. Will Werf be able to catch back up? Frantic had an exit turn 1 issue, it looks like, and they've got more brake issues as Werf will catch up.
I don't really know what's happening. Like everyone is struggling on the brakes and the rear tires with it. I think they are like just turning in too quickly or something.
It is an interesting one. Becken having more issues as well, which allows the Williams to go through. Frantic, of course, not able to escape despite having that over 1 second time penalty. So that was a golden ticket, unfortunately lost in the wind. But Becken, they've got a bit of work to do to try and catch back up. I say that, they are within DRS, so they might be lucky. Terence almost had a look at getting closer to the Mercedes car because of their mistake. Jakob not able to get through on the Aston Martin, and Barry catches up, P7, looking good to maybe make some more positions. The top 8 do get points here in Austria, and actually look at that, Rare Winter, despite having a drive-through penalty, is only 1 position away from points right now, as they unfortunately do get a 3-second time penalty, so commentator's curse, but we'll see how it goes up into the first few corners.
Yeah, Third was looking for the inside of Jericho into turn 3, but decided to not go for it. I think he's just want to stay around, stay behind for now. Maybe save some ERS for the last lap.
Looks like a quick dive to the inside for Jericho just to spot their breaking point. Now the top 4 are trying to settle in a rhythm. It looks like it's not a rhythm though for P5 and 6 as Terence and Jakob are scuffling, as it was the Ferrari leading into turn 3. But into turn 4, Terence wanted to have a go. They've got damage on that car actually, which must be recent because all of a sudden they're starting to drop off. I don't quite know where they would have got that. That must have been, I don't think it would have been into turn 3 because we're watching on board. forward. So it must have been into turn 4 that we just missed out. They went side by side on the exit. Terence has got a long old race to go. Even though it's a few laps left, they have still got a long way to go, and Barry is going to want to try and clear that Aston as soon as possible to prevent them from losing out too much. Rowe Winter unfortunately has another issue to this race.
We have Jericho overtaking Frantic for the lead now. I think Frantic... Oh, no, I thought Firth was going for it, but I think Frantic will now stick behind. No, he decides to maybe go for it. If I was him, I would stay behind and just save and wait for the last lap.
You've got those kind of 3 laps where everything starts to kick off, really, haven't you? It's going to be difficult. That being said, it's a very short circuit, Austria, so maybe you want to try and make it 4. But it really depends on how many people you've got in the train, because if you have a lot more to think about, if you can make moves, then that's great. But if you make a small mistake, you'll get eaten up and you'll just drop like a stone. So they've got to be careful. Jericho leads.
Talking about mistakes, I'm like constantly watching Frantic now. I don't know what it is with the setup compared to yesterday, but his rear is just constantly losing in every corner.
He is lucky that he'll get a lobby restart and freedom to go for a setup change as they go into the main qualifying and main race. But right now, with the rest of the sprint, they'll have to deal with it. They've not got long to go. Everything starts to heat up, and Verth wants to be P2 in the train. It's very, very crucial that he does. Has to go slightly to the inside of the Williams. Is actually going to look at maybe taking it to P1 as they get the DRS, and they are going to swoop through the lead. Frantic's not able to get an advantage to be alongside until the very last moments on the Williams. Are they going to try and stick their nose in, or is the Williams going to stay in P2? That was an interesting one. Frantic not able to keep so well in a straight line though.
Yeah, the first did really well, to be honest, to overtake both of them, and now being in P1, you really want to be in P1 or P2 at the end of the race, so really good job by Firth.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Currently, the top 4 are very close. Of course, Becken took pole, but they do have a time penalty, which is going to make it very difficult. They need to work with the cars ahead and hope they don't fight too much, although they will be fighting, of course, for that position. They've got to hope that they don't lose too much time to cars behind, because they currently would be safe to finish ahead of Jakob, but it's going to be very fragile. Barry and Jakob will be fighting. That is Jericho making a mistake on the exit of turn 1. That's not what they wanted to do, because they're P4 in the train, and that's exactly where you don't want to be on the final laps of this Grand Prix.
Nah, now he's only got to get P3, and it's helping Frantic to be in the position that you want to be. He went from like in one of the worst positions in P3 to now in the hot seat for the win. Yeah,
for sure. It could be very possible. Frantic sits in P2. Now, they've got to think, do they try and hold on and sit in that P2 to get DRS? Would that be the more beneficial situation? Are they confident in their straight line speed, but also are they confident that they'll be able to stay ahead of P3 and P4? P3 and P4, they can afford to kind of pressure Frantic into making some sort of move, which could go very, very wrong for Frantic. They could end up losing positions when they're trying to just hold P2 and not even go for P1. Maybe the best defense is offense for Frantic in a few laps time. Becken's best interest is to try and get another car to get a time penalty, so they're going to try and force them into some sort of attacking maneuver, attacking mistake, as they will definitely do so. They're looking for P2 in the train, and they'll get to P1 on the exit of turn 3. There's a bit of contact. Verth goes off. Frantic to the inside and takes the lead.
Yeah, you don't really want to see that much of a sense. I think that was a little bit dirty from Becken, but in the end, Frantic only is happy with it. He's still in the best seat for the win now, but Firth will be very much angry about it. Yeah, Frantic is actually very, very lucky, because now they've not only got a DRS car ahead, but they've got a car ahead with a time penalty. So what Becken is looking for right here is an attempt to try and beat the lead car so they can push on their own accord and extend to the cars behind, because Barry is catching up as they've cleared Zaplatau. Zaplatau not able to stay with the Red Bull driver. They are under threat. They have to be in the position that they're doing, so they've done
done the right call. It's just a little bit aggressive, and it did cause a little bit of an upset right now. Jericho Willis is in a strong position, but they're going to have to save their battery if they want to go for a double overtake. That is going to be a slightly inside defensive maneuver right here from Becken. It's going to be Verf to the inside line, who will get the move almost done on Frantic, but they get ahead of the Williams more importantly. Both of these guys no time penalties. They're going to continue slightly side by side. They aren't going to back off. They're going to have to leave the spaces, Jericho, but on the exit, he's just not going to have it. A demon drag, they do make contact, they slow each other down. Now it is actually the inside line for the Williams car.
What a battle we are seeing, to be honest. Like, it's been unlucky that they got team dragging, but so far it's been a really clean and nice battle between the two, and a really good defense by Jericho to stay ahead of first in the end. But I gotta say, Barry is really doing well at bit catching up to them, and maybe he even can get within the 3 seconds of Becken.
Yeah, for sure. All right, this is very crucial now. Frantic wants to try and score points here for their championship to try and take the lead away from Samaxon. Becken leads on the final lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. Frantic is going to get their best opportunity to make the overtake. They go to the outside. They've got a Williams also coming very quickly right behind them. What a lead as they went into turn 3. They might be able to have it. Becken forces the Williams wide and is going to allow Frantic to break away. Becken sits right there. Verf has got a good run as they're fighting before. Now to the inside. They should have the advantage. Will it become the advantage as they go to turn 6? A loss of traction. The Williams is going to be involved.
Wow, what I don't really know what I'm seeing. It's like all the cars are all over the place. It's still a lot of contact happening. I'm speechless, to be honest.
It's absolutely incredible, but right now it doesn't look like it's going to be contested. We could see a change of Zaplatal, who's going to have a run, but no, it's not going to be enough. Frantic rounds the final corner, and they'll take 8 points in Austria. That's the sprint race win for the Haas team. Verf P2, a phenomenal effort. Jericho Willis to P3, and Barry does get ahead of Becken in the end. It's going to be Brett is called P6, Zaplatal, then Terrence scoring the final point of the session. So Maxon having a very difficult race, not scoring anything in the sprint here. So Frantic scoring maximum points over their rival. Tom Robb and Peanuts will finish at the back of the pack, but they'll have another chance later on, of course. Frantic, what a drive though, what a drive.
Yeah, I gotta say though, to be honest, the driver of this sprint for me is definitely Barry from where he started and what he able to do. Like, from, I don't know where he actually started, but getting P3 with the penalty as well is really well done by him.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get a quick reminder of where they did start the race. They started, that was P8. So yeah, that's incredible. Frantic takes the win. Verf in P2. Jericho Willis in P3. We'll quickly go through the race directors. We don't have too long to do so. And then we will go through the pit stop section. And that has been it. We will see you in a bit for the main qualifying in about 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you very much for your patience. We'll be starting very, very soon. Hello everyone, welcome back to the LSI F1.5 Championship. We're today for the EU tier, the Austrian Grand Prix, round 4 of the championship, starting the second segment. Of course, we did race last weekend in Monza for the F1.5 Championship, but that was a rescheduled race, as we're on board with a lap from Verf, who was fighting up the front earlier on in the sprint race. Now we've got a full qualifying session. We've got a few cars already setting laps. A 4.151 is currently the pace from Sir Maxon. Chocolade is definitely putting some good lap times in right now as well, but here is the Sauber, and they're going to be looking to try and put themselves up the front of the pack as they've been competing so far. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, I think they will definitely be up there again this quali session. He validated his first lap, so he had to go back into the pits, but now he's back on track, and we'll see how he can do on this lap. It's a purple middle sector, it says.
Which could be a bug because it's on the mini-map. The only way you can really tell is if you look at the onboard and the top right-hand side of the screen if it's purple. But we don't get to see that. We do get to see the final lap time, though. Across the line, it's going to be a P4 for Verf, their first time lap, as you said, of the session. The track did rubber in a little bit more, which is the benefit. They are going to get another, well, 1 or 2 laps, really, if they push for it in this session. It is a short lap after all, so you can definitely still have a good few runs. It's just whether you want to use all those tyres or not, as every car will now be restarting, of course, from the sprint race. They don't really get much of a change on tyre situation because it's just kind of a normal Grand Prix at this stage. So yeah, they've definitely still got to try and manage that situation. Simaxon is currently out on a lap to try and improve to see if they can defend their current pole, but Frantic is going through the middle sector and entering the third sector as they've got a car ahead of them. They are currently up by just under a tenth, but they've backed off as the car ahead of them was right there. They're trying to save some battery and go again as they desperately rev the car out, but yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, I think he was gonna try and go again. I think he got some hinder from the guy in front, from Verf, but yeah, he's now doing a new run, I think, if I see it correctly on the map. Yep, he does.
Although he's forgotten DRS. Yeah, forgotten DRS on the start-finish straight. Now opened it as they go on the main straight. Okay, so yeah, unfortunately that's going to be another aborted lap. It looks like, yeah, 1.369 seconds into turn 3 early on in the lap. That is a big gap to try and make. We've got Jericho Willis out on the lap. We do have the current pole sitter right now looking at making this a bigger gap, but they've got traffic moving out the way though, so they should be fine, but it definitely is going to be a little bit distracting. The ideal lap is without any traffic whatsoever. They've managed to make it through the last few corners. Hopefully they don't DSQ as they did. They were leading from pole, or looking like getting pole position as they went through the final corners of Austria, but they invalidated this time. You could see how tentative they were on the final corner right there, but they don't improve. They've actually backed off. I didn't realise that. We weren't looking on board, couldn't really see the pace difference. They have set that one though, and they're not going to have enough battery to go again, so they're going to have to go into the pit lane if they want to go for this one. Jericho Willis is currently on a lap as well. They're going to get a tow, a cheeky little tow from the car ahead as well.
Yeah, I think they are actually gonna do both a lap. Who is it? Jericho and Rare Winter. So I think Jericho just timed it correctly this time and just gonna gain a lot. No, it's yeah, Jericho timed it correctly to gain DRS, but now he backed off, so I don't think he's actually gonna do it. With Rare Winter now making a huge mistake into turn 4.
Yeah, looked a bit more like Formula Drift right there as they went through. That does seem to be where a lot of people struggle on the brake bias, but that's not a brake bias corner. That is a traction-based corner. They're just having a really loose end. And I'm not really entirely sure what that was there from Rare Winter. Hopefully they're all good and they can go again, but they're not having the best of times in the current qualifying session. Jericho Willis will have another go in a few moments' time. We've got Becken, who is currently on a lap right now. The pole sitter from the sprint race, managing to get that one lap pace, and we always knew that they were quick. They didn't have too much experience in this game, but they did get a few laps in before this race, and they can now try and show their pace once again. They've got a few more laps to try and set this, of course, as well. So they should be good to go, and we'll see if they can maybe try and avoid a time penalty. They do invalidate, unfortunately, throughout this lap, though, so they're going to have to go again once more.
Yeah, I just was watching Frantic crossing the line. He just moved up into P3, just behind the top 2. It's been really close so far this quali. Yeah, I think Frantic can still improve on that. They are really close
Definitely.
together.
Three lap old softs.
Yeah, so he can definitely improve on that. So we'll see if he can beat his championship rival Simicston in this quali.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see how that one goes. We've got Verf on a lap, though. We'll see what they can do. As I said before, they were very competitive. They did, unfortunately, back out on their lap when we were watching. Now we get to watch again. They currently sit at 4.461, and they will come through the next few corners. And 2 more to go, but barely any ERS. They've maybe used the ERS trick a little bit too harshly. They're going to probably lose a bit of time in this final sector. Just up to the line. What's it going to be for the Sauber car? 5 minutes on the clock. They do improve by 1.5 tenths, just under. But they are very kind of in the middle of Frantic and Barry. There's a big gap between both cars, really. They've got a bit of work to do.
Yeah, and if you were wondering that the gap was so close at the front, well, Jericho just slots in P3 between Chocolade and Frantic. It's insane how close these times are, but it's usual around this track, to be honest, because it's so short.
Yeah, for sure. It's short, you get more laps in. We do have a few people that have done multiple laps on certain tyres, so if they can go into the pit lane in these final few minutes and get some very quick tyres on, then I think this order is going to change massively. Of course, we've got Peanuts and Tom Robb as high-tier drivers, so they're going to be starting near the back of the grid. I'm not entirely sure if Beckons may be trying to do the same thing as well. They're not actually a higher-tier driver. Well, they're not signed up as a higher-tier driver. They are very quick, and they were a front-runner last season in F1.5, so if they want to be classed as a higher-tier driver, I think they can definitely class themselves as one. But yeah, Terrett's not actually setting a lap yet. They've not got too much time left to go on the clock, but they've struggled to set laps. If they've actually come out the pit lane, I'm not entirely sure. Currently, the only cars out on track is Tom Robb, who is just setting multiple laps on these tyres. But we do have Zeppelin in the Ferrari, looking to set their next qualifying run, using the grass on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I'm watching the usage of ERS as well from F1, and they seem to use too much in the first 2 sectors. Like, everyone is on around 10% going into the last 2 corners, so they can still optimize a lot of their pace in the quali so far.
It's interesting insight from a top driver. It's very difficult to get right with all the technical side and strategic strategies that you can use. It is very, very interesting, and it can gain you a lot of time if you do it right. Right now, 3 minutes on the clock, and it is starting to be crunch time. Frantic going out with 3 minutes on the clock. Heish, when would you be leaving the pit lane?
This is too early, in my opinion. Around Austria, I would say around 2:30, but I do a slow out lap on Austria, so you can even go out on 2. But we have Firth now retiring from the session. I don't know if he thinks he can't improve on his time.
Interesting. Did they maybe use too many tyres? They don't want to use another tyre and they're just going to back off on quali? I don't quite know. It would maybe explain it. As you said about take a slow out lap, it's actually a good idea because it's incredibly difficult to warm up your tyres around here. I remember a couple of games ago some people were actually doing an extra out lap and then starting it because it is so difficult to warm up these tyres, not only with the straights but it's also the lap distance, of course, being so short. We've got Frantic though setting their final lap of the session, very likely so. Of course they do have more time, so if they're able to, or if they were to make a mistake right now, they might be able to go again, but they are still pushing and they've got barely any ERS. They'll gain some in this middle sector. but it's not going to be a massive amount. As you see, they go through the middle sector looking quick, but now the final few corners are coming up. They do have a car ahead, but it shouldn't worry them too much. They should be fine. Frantic, the championship contender so far, taking a win this season, taking a win last weekend in Monza. They get close to the track limits on exit. It's going to be provisional pole position, 3.9 seconds lap time. That is a decent margin at the moment, but Samaxon is now trying to come back.
Yeah, I think it's a margin that Samaxon can overcome. It's still over 1.5 tenths nearly. He's not up into the first sector yet, but it's not the biggest margin. If he had a mistake on his second one, he can definitely improve on the third one when there's more grip around the track.
Definitely, it's getting even quicker and quicker as the seconds go by. Samaxon into turn 4 will go through the middle sector and enter sector 3 and see what they're looking like as they cross that line pace-wise, as they were previously down. They're now up by 1 and a bit tenths. They need a little bit more time, I think, but they should have a good chance at going for this final few corners. They've got a little bit of ERS to be able to use as they exit the final corner. Big snap as they ride the curve, braking early but getting the better exit and using everything they can. It's not going to be enough for 3.946. So close margins. They're just going to miss out in the end. And now lots of other cars are going to get another opportunity. Frantic is actually able to go again.
He's doing another lap. I was just watching Chocolate, who is retiring on track actually. But yeah, I wasn't expected to go Frantic. That Frantic will go another lap, and Jericho is now starting a lap as well. So maybe both of them can still improve and be ahead of both Samaxon.
Definitely. We've got Samaxon's teammate, P7 at the moment, looking to finish their qualifying runs. We've got many drivers who will not be setting another lap in this session. Across the line here for Barry, what's it going to be? It's going to be a P6. They get an extra position across the line. The racing ball behind them doesn't improve. We've got Becken, and I'm not entirely sure if they're setting laps. It does look like they're going to go for it here. Misses turn 9, but into turn 10, they power it out. What's it going to be for the Swedish driver as they go over the grass? It's going to be enough for P3 right there. Frantic crosses the line, and they don't improve on the old tyres. Will we see Jericho Willis be able to fight for pole position here? They do miss that final corner. They cut massively into turn 10. It's going to be a P5 in the end. They just missed out on an improvement. Slightly older tyres, that may have been the reason. It's not going to be enough. We've got Brothers Call unfortunately invalidating, so that will be their qualifying done. But Frantic is taking another pole position here in the F1.5 EU Championship with Samaxon, the championship leader, right behind. Championship leader going into this race. I'm not entirely sure what the standings are looking like after the sprint, but that was a pretty close qualifying.
Yeah, it was fun qualifying to watch, but only Jericho I saw using the ERS in the correct way at the end. Like, he had still 20% to go to the run of the line.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll see how it goes in the race. So that's where the points are scored. Frantic takes pole, Samaxon in P2, and Becken in P3. We'll be back in a bit. Ready? Hold! Go! Who's going to get it into turn one? Simaxon disconnecting and will not get the start. Frantic gets an easy lead into the first corner. Becken will slide behind. Chocolate P3, Verf P4, and Jericho Willis trying to have a go as they're side by side up to turn three. Simaxon will be joining, hopefully very soon. The Williams to the outside. Will they try and break late or look for the switchback? They're going to try and stick their nose in. The space is left further down the order. It's all very, very close. Tom Robb trying to make moves early on in this race. Simaxon still yet to join. They will be able to take control, but it's Becken who is having to go defensive on the Alpine, who pushes them wide and makes it P2.
Oh, there are multiple cars off track there in the back. I don't know what happened. I think it was with the ghosted car of Simaxon that kind of put them off.
Oh dear. Okay, so it's not joined back, so they were just distracted by the ghost car. Hopefully they're all good, but they can't seem to join back. I don't know if they can't seem to join back or they just don't know how to join back, but we'll try and get on top of that in a few moments' time. I'll probably have to try and give you the comms for a bit, but currently Frantic leads the way. Chocolada sits in P2, and this is going to be a brilliant opportunity for Frantic with the championship points if it stays as it stands.
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch now what the tires are on everyone's car, and we have only two people on the hards with Becken and Barry. We'll see what they can do whilst we see Chocolate overtaking Frantic now. If Frantic is smart, he won't fighting it too much. It's early in the race, so he can still fight it back later on. But it's interesting to see if Becken and Barry can maybe work together when the medium runners are pitting and try and get back to the hard runners in the later stint. But there is a big gap now between Jericho and Barry, so that's another deal for Barry. Oh no, not between Jericho and Barry, but between Firth and Jericho. So we'll see if Jericho can catch back up to the lead train, which he just about did. He actually is within the rest of the second straight again.
Lovely stuff, as everyone is very bunched up. Frantic's looking to make that move into the first corner. Anyone else going to have a go? Well, Becken naturally goes slightly to the inside to try and make their car a bit wider on the exit. Chocolate is still trying to take the lead, and they will use that energy to make sure that that happens, and they continue to stay in P1 in the train at the moment. Further back, there are a few interesting situations. Once again, Becken slightly offline as Verf is having a look and maybe looking to try and make that move. Becken driving very interestingly right there.
Yeah, I think he's a bit struggling with tires right now. The mediums are definitely quicker for like 7 laps to 8 to 9 laps compared to the hards. So he will have to wait a bit and try to keep his position as much as possible. But he will definitely be able to fight back like on lap 9 or something.
For sure. Now, Hush, when will the pit lane window be?
I personally think I would be pitting around lap 12 if I was on the mediums. I've watched some races and people pit quite late if they are on the hards, or pit quite early if they are on the mediums, because the mediums have a really big drop off around this track. The hards stay like within 1 second for a long time of your best lap, but mediums can go out of that second real quick.
Sorry, a second, I'm just double checking. A few things
we have now. Yeah, we have now Frantic retaking the lead with on Chocolade. They are just switching around now with DRS, waiting until the last few laps and just not losing too much time with each other fighting. And that actually helps Becken to stay with them as well if they like just fight a little bit but not too much. In the end, Becken will definitely be able to catch up some places if he's on the mediums and they are on the hards.
For sure. Alright, Frantic leads the way on lap 5. This is the race update. Chocolade in P2, Becken in P3. Now, how are things going to change? Becken doesn't have to go for an awkward line into the first corner to defend from a car because he's a bit further ahead. He's going to the inside line to try and have maybe a better run. Even looking for the overtake, they back off, but it is going to be the Alpine taking the lead. And here comes the Mercedes trying to have a go, but instead, as I said, they would have been easily staying where they were. All of a sudden it was changing. Now it's changing again. It looked like he was going to lose it down to P4, but now he's leading the Grand Prix momentarily as the Alpine does back off. Verf still side by side. He really wants to try and make some progress in this train, but just can't do it. They don't want to fight too hard and lose the DRS train, because that would be absolutely chaos if they did, as we saw yesterday. Currently, the top 9 all in a train. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, interesting that Becken takes the lead here. I think this is not good for the medium runners. They will lose time behind him whilst he is on hards. Whilst I'm saying it, Chocolade is actually losing time in the last few corners as well, but he will definitely want to overtake him back again, because the mediums should be still quicker. Oh, Becken making a mistake.
And that is early gain from, immediate gain there, from the medium tyre runners, and actually swallowed up by even more cars on the exit. Verf will be able to get that as well, so that's an interesting one. This is where Becken was really trying to get through. Verf has finally got that extra progress. Once again, another mistake into the braking zone there for Becken. As we saw in the sprint race, they should still have a decent exit, but they're, very lucky once again. What I wanted to say is Verf has finally made that progress, and now is in P3 in that train. Might even have a look at making a double overtake. They seem to want to lead this race, but I'm not entirely sure why.
It's just for the clean air, I think, and see what your pace actually is. Like I had yesterday in the sprint, where I actually found out on the last lap, if I had clean air and I was pushing ERS, I could have actually made the gap to 1 second. So maybe he's thinking about taking the lead and see what his pace is, what he's able to do.
Yeah, for sure. They're not really challenging at the moment. I say that they might have a go at the Alpine as Frantic makes that move. Are they going to dive to the inside? No, they'll slot in behind. Everyone's going to be nice and calm this time around. We're going to have to keep an eye on Becken though, because those tyres are only going to get quicker within a couple of laps time. And they're going to be, probably going to have to make some aggressive overtakes. They want to stay ahead of Barry, who is also going to be very quick later on with that hard tyre. Heisch, in this current grid with lots of medium tyre runners and only a few hard tyres, would you want to be on that hard tyre?
Well, it's a good thing now that both Becken and Barry are on the same part of the track, so they can use use the DRS from each other and switch around when the medium runners are pitting. Because otherwise we'll just lose like just about too much time with those hard tires. And you want to pit, like I said, as late as possible to the mediums, since they are fresh enough to keep going until the end and catch up to the hard runners. Yeah, for sure. I definitely would want to be on the hard tyre. It looks like a decent tyre to be on right now. Jurko Willis is going to be making that move on Barry, so the hard tyre wasn't able to stay ahead right there, but is actually on the inside line. Slots in behind just about. It's all very close. There's damage from cars behind. It looks like Zaplatau tries to make the move on Rare Winter as they've lost DRS, but then they've collided into the corner. Why were they battling? I'm not entirely sure. That's incredibly confusing. Up front, Chocolat makes the move into the lead of the Grand Prix. Everything kind of switched up there. I didn't know where to look, but yeah, there's the Alpine into the lead of the Grand Prix. Jurko Willis makes that move ahead. That's going to be the Alpine making a mistake immediately, slotting into P4. Jurko Willis having to slow down right there. Big shock all of a sudden. They were very, very, very lucky to not make contact. Yeah, it's interesting. Like a lot happened at once. Like the contact between Jakub and Rare Winter, I believe it was really weird. It was just on the straight in the braking zone, so I don't know what happened there actually. But I'm looking further back as well, where Terence and Penis are actually working together to catch up again to the lead train. And then at the same time, it's all kicking off in the lead train as well.
Yep, for sure is. Now, we've got a 3 wide looking moment. That's surely never going to work. We've got a big cut from Becken as they back out of it. They're going to lose time. They might even lose to Tom Robb, who is using the energy, trying to have a go. Defensive throw here from the Mercedes, and they will have an easy look at defending that position. They've almost ended it all. Very well spotted right there from the Alpine. He now tries to make it around the outside of the Alpine as well, just for good measure. They're never going to have a look on that tyre at this stage of the Grand Prix, surely. They don't. They back off. That was very, very lucky. They wanted to stay ahead of the higher tier driver. They wanted to try and be that lead or lead medium tyre runner with a couple of medium tyres in between. Obviously, you won't get a benefit of the train, but you will be in clean air once everybody pits, if, of course, the gap changes. But we'll see how that goes. That got very, very difficult, and I have to definitely say well done to both drivers to be able to react in that situation and not make it any worse. Verth leads the way. Frantic's not going to be competing.
Yeah, it's interesting why Becken is so aggressive on his hard tires. If I was him, I would just chill around. It's not really there's not really a point fighting the medium runners right now. They are still somewhat quicker. Maybe he's quicker now, but you will only lose time with doing this.
Yep, for sure. That is a mistake there for Becken into turn 4 once again, and Tom Robb is going to make that move. I think he's just going to have to let this one go. There's going to be no competition. They just have to deal with it. As, lap 9 we were on just there, and we were 3 wide into turn 3. So it's early stages for that. Obviously, the pit window is going to be still a couple laps to go, but those medium tyres will obviously be pitting earlier on. Now, Becken is, all of a sudden, once again, directly in front of Barry, and Barry is actually maybe even looking at making a move once again, looking very composed, just keeping it calm, staying where they need to be. They've got ahead of Yerko once again. Just Yerko have damage because they were so quick earlier on. They don't seem to have any visual damage, but then they just lost a bit out there. Becken looks like they're going for a move already.
I think Yerko is out of ERS. I just saw his light flashing like all the time, so I think he's just losing pace because of that and trying to stay within the DRS, but at the same time gain DRS back. But in the front, they are still fighting a lot, which is costing them time in the end. Like I said, now this is gonna help Becken with the mediums not really using their pace.
Definitely. As Tom Robb was trying to hold on to the position, he actually backs off as Barry makes the move on that hard tyre. We did just see Tom Robb, when he was ahead of Barry, Becken was behind Tom Robb. They went to go for the overtake on actually both cars ahead of them as the Alpine ends up behind. That was absolutely incredible. I don't know how there wasn't any fallout from that overtake, but there wasn't an incident, so that's why. That was absolutely awesome. I want to see that on the replay later on. That was crazy. But Verth and Frantic are not affected. They stay in their kind of flow state at the moment. Frantic's not willing to push. They don't need to. The benefit of being in this situation as well is that you don't risk getting warnings. That being said, if you are in a relaxed situation, Eichler, would you say it's easier to get a warning than if you're pushing the car?
No, if I like am behind someone, I usually get less warnings. I can indeed just chill around, just don't really push the track limits and do the strategy, let the strategy do its work, and just stay behind them. The last few laps are the important laps. These laps don't really matter yet.
Yep, for sure. Although it does matter if you make a big mistake like that. Frantic makes a mistake as Becken was looking to make the move. We're going to get a pit stop. We're going to get a pit stop as Verth goes through. Everyone bunches up. A very early call right here on lap 12 going to lap 13. And Becken is going to look to lead into the first corner. That's an interesting strategy. Who got DRS? I think it's Frantic, who will probably retake that lead immediately, surely.
That's interesting that I called the lap correctly, and now Frantic is getting back to Becken, and actually Chocolate is going to the inside as well, which is just about hell. Keeping the car So I can't speak anymore.
It's incredibly intense right now. Everyone's switching up. Jericho Willis is going to be in the fight as well. Absolutely incredible. Looking to the inside of the Red Bull almost, but they do just about keep it out of the rear end of that hard tyre, the fellow hard tyre runner. And for the first time in a long time, now Becken is not the lead hard tyre runner. Got the inside line there for Jericho. That was a big risk right there. Not an easy place to go on the inside. They back off and let it go, but these guys have just lost time to Verf, who is going to be very happy with that, because now they're on the hard tyre, they can warm up the tyres, and with everybody fighting, not really taking full advantage of the ERS train or DRS train, he's going to gain a bit. Would he gain enough? I don't quite know, and will their tyres be too warm by the end of this race, because they are so early?
No, I think the Haas will make it to the end. Like I said, you want to pit around lap 12, and now Thomas pitting as well. I was wondering where he would filter out compared to first, but he's like so far behind him. So I'm worried about the rest of the leading train now, where they will slot in.
Big mistake from Barry right there. It's going to be once again a battle between the front two, who seem to just be losing more time. They want to be ahead before the pit stops. I don't know when they're intending to pit, but that is an incredibly lucky situation. We almost saw DRS be lost from the top two as it stands right now, because Jericho Willis, there's more incidents, there's more issues. Becken goes down the order, and Barry will get it. I don't know what happened to Becken after all that fighting, all that effort. They're now so far back, they're not going to be able to make a pit stop. They've still got a long way to go in this race. We've got a pit stop here for Frantic right now, and Chocolade will now take the lead of the Grand Prix. Barry is in such a lucky position right now. They almost lost DRS. Luckily, the cars behind them didn't, and they were able to get a slingshot and still catch up to the other cars. But I don't know what just happened, but that was very crazy, and Becken has got a lot of work to do. 5-second gap to the lead cars now. That's going to be very hard to make a comeback on.
Yeah, you can see now how massively they gained on the undercut. Firth is so far ahead of Frantic because they fighted so much, and Thomas even ahead of him by more than a second, so he doesn't have DRS either. But that mistake of Becken won't help Barry. He won't have someone to help him with DRS, so I don't think Barry would contend later on in the race either.
Yeah, absolutely incredible undercut right there from Verf. Simaxon has got back into this race, luckily, and will be able to score points if they can get into the points, but of course they are quite far behind. Maybe if a safety car was to come out, then it would change, so as the Chocolate goes into the pit lane. Jericho Willis will now take the lead. Of course, Barry isn't going to go into the pit lane just yet, but I'm surprised that Jericho hasn't done it. They're going for a really big undercut, which wouldn't make sense if you've got a hard tyre to go to the end of the Grand Prix. I don't quite know what their thinking is, especially if they could look at the mini-map, just take a glance and see what the pace is. Maybe they're thinking about doing something that I'm not really aware of right now.
I think he wants to have the DRS of Barry. That will gain him some time. If he can stick for like 2-3 laps in the DRS of Barry, it will gain you quite some time, and you will have new tires until the end of the race, which is maybe he will be able to catch up back up to Verf, who's now the net race leader.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see how that one goes. Right now, looking at the undercuts, and of course Becken being on that tyre, who will be losing time to the guys on the fresh tyres, with that 5-second gap mistake, will they be behind Simaxon and Peanuts at this rate? I think they will. And maybe even Rare Winter, maybe even Brothers Cool. This is going to be a difficult situation for them to be in. They now get 3 seconds to make the situation worse. We still don't see the Williams car into the pit lane. We do see a yellow flag, as that is Rare Winter unfortunately having an issue.
Yeah, I was just watching who's already stopped, but Simaxon still hasn't stopped either, and he is on the medium, so I think he will stop soon as well. So whenever Barrett decides to stop, he won't be in his way. And yeah, the rest of the field is on hard, so he will have to catch up when he is on the new mediums.
For sure. We both see Becken and Terence into the pit lane, and they will smash into the barrier on pit exit. I do not believe it. Becken has gone from hero and almost down to zero. Currently P9 now with damage on the left end plate. What a shame. They would have been in the DRS train. They would have been absolutely rapid with the pace that they have. It would have been an easy pass ahead of Samaxon, and they would have had a different car, a different strategy car ahead of them. But now it's going to be really difficult. They need a safety car in this race. Terence is going to be right behind. They could try and get a bit of an advantage here, and they'll be able to probably get ahead of Becken and get an extra point, maybe even look at another podium this season if they really made it work, quite luckily. But we see Jericho Willis now going to the pit lane. Barry doesn't follow a lap later to their fellow hard tyre runner. Verf will get a significant overcut right here on Jericho Willis, and looking at the gap if we can, 2.6 seconds. I don't think that's changed too much. Verf could look at possibly taking quite a smooth victory here.
Yeah. I don't think that was the best call for Becken to pit this early. Like, the mediums are good for like the first 4 laps, but then you really start to see that they are dropping off by about 8/10 already. So I don't think that was smart from Becken, but I do think it's smart from Barry that they continues for like another 4 or 5 laps.
For sure. We see Jakob now very close to the back of Rare Winter. They do a front wing once again, but they did push Rare Winter off slightly. They slot in behind again. They get the DRS to try and re-overtake. It's all pushy and shovey into turn 3. How about turn 4? Looking to try and open up the corner a little bit as the Ferrari driver, and they will get ahead of the Racing Bull. These guys trying their absolute best after some really difficult starts to the races. They're now side by side into the middle sector. It's a risky strategy on lap 19. They've got a long way to go, but they're giving a good show, definitely. So we'll take that for sure. Looking at Barry, who still doesn't pit, is in turn 3 at the moment, continues. Would you maybe even look at going for a soft tyre for Barry right now?
No, definitely not. The sauce is not the way to go around this track. It's like, yeah, if the medium is already good for only 4 laps, let alone how good the soft will be for like maybe 2 max laps. But I'm watching Tom and Frantic as well, who are actually catching up quite quickly now to Verve. I think they are like swapping around with DRS as well, so maybe they will be able to catch up to Verve as well.
For sure. We'll see how it goes later. What is interesting is that the top runners have pretty much split up, except from Tom, Rob and Frantic, of course. We now have, once again, battles throughout the lap between Rare Winter and Zaplatau, as there is a hell of a send right there on the inside from Rare Winter. They tried to brake as late as they could. They had to slow the car down. Zaplatau looking for the switchback, but just didn't quite judge it quite correctly. They're going to send it to the inside at 7. They've just about got through the corner fairly. That is massive risks at this stage of the race. We've got the pit stop here from Barry. Let's watch and see where they come out from the cars behind. They don't get damaged. They're safely out of the pit lane, and they're actually not too bad. They're actually pretty decent right there on times. They've been able to just focus on gaining that pace. That is a phenomenal pit stop. They're within DRS range of Jericho Willis, who was just behind them beforehand.
Yeah, it's really helped that the gaps are quite big now in the lead group. Like, no one really has DRS except for Tom, Rob and Frantic, which will cost all the hard runners quite a lot of time. With now Barry being on mediums, he will catch up quite easily to everyone because no one has the help of anyone else. But Tom, Rob now getting a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, that's an interesting one as they do make the move ahead of Frantic. That's another time penalty for Becken as well. Yeah, Tom Rob making that move. Getting clean air, all of a sudden the car performs a little bit differently. You start pushing it and then you can make mistakes. You've got to slowly bleed your way into remembering that pace, and just maybe a little bit too aggressive, but does gain a little bit of time in the meantime to the car ahead. Can they try and make a bit of a comeback here at the later stages of this Grand Prix? Barry Kruger is going to try their best to maybe make some progress here. Will they go for the move on Jericho Willis? They will. To the inside they go. Does the Williams, and they're going to let that one happen. I say that they are going to sit to the inside. I think they're just looking at trying to make sure they don't go into the back of the Red Bull and don't lose the position to Peanuts, which they will hold on to for now, unless Peanuts tries to push but they will not be doing so. Now, will Barry be able to gain this 3-second gap, I should say, and then another 4 seconds to then have maybe a 3-second-ish gap to catch up to the other cars, or are they going to end up fighting? I don't quite know, but I will ask Kite, if you're Chocolate, is it worth fighting Barry once they do catch up, if they catch up, or have you got to just try and work together with them?
No, I was gonna say Jericho will now try to stay within DRS as well, and if Barry catches up to Chocolate, he will probably be doing the same. Just stay within DRS, hope Barry has the pace, which he definitely has if you look at the fastest lap he set now. So let's see what Chocolate will actually do, but if I was him, I would just let him by and stay with him.
Yeah, definitely. When it gets later on, of course, you want to try and keep a medium tyre behind for as long as possible, because obviously later on they won't have such faster tyres. So if they can't exploit the early grip, then they won't be able to exploit the grip later on. But right now, they've just got to try and work together, which it looks like they will be absolutely fine with doing, as Jericho Willis is spotting their braking point, I'll say, just about. In the meantime, Frantic and Tom Rob, they, of course, got a time penalty, did Tom Rob, but they were able to go for a slingshot strategy, and they do gain massively to Verth. So they finally make it work, and it's going to be an interesting one. We've got side-by-side action here with Becken and Brothers Cause. Becken goes around the outside with damage on that car, and they've managed to make that work. The fresher rubber is very advantageous despite having less of a front wing. P8 currently on the line. Brothers Cause doesn't have a time penalty, so Becken needs to try and break away if they want to try and make this one work. That's a difficult one, but I really want to keep a good eye on the top two if this battle does come to a close. But it looks like we're going to go again side by side very soon.
Yeah, it was an amazing move, to be honest, by Becken. I was watching it and I'm surprised by it that he pulled that off with his broken win. But yeah, it's looking like the top three is getting back together now with only 1/10 of DRS now for Frantic. So I hope they will get together so we can see an amazing battle between the three.
Yep, for sure. We also get an attempt at working together from Barry and Jericho Willis as Jericho Willis, lets Peanuts go as they lost a bit of momentum. All of a sudden, now with this hard tyre, they might end up losing to Barry on that fresher tyre, losing DRS. They tried to make it work. It was a slight misjudgment, but then just braking a little bit too late. It was Jericho right there. We could get a safety car as Rowinter seems to have an issue, unfortunately. But they continue, and they're absolutely fine. We'll see how this one goes a little bit later on. So Maxim trying to have a go maybe at Jakob Zaplatau. Look at an extra position. That is Peanuts going off the circuit, but they do get DRS, more importantly, for themselves. So, yeah, very lucky to do so from the battle that they just had. They'll be good to go. That is another time penalty, unfortunately, for Becken. Really being really quick, but just having terrible situations in this race, to be honest with you. It's very difficult, but we do have to quickly look at the top two because they've all of a sudden closed, and Tom Rob is out of DRS. How did that happen?
Yeah, I was watching it. Tom Rob made in this section of the track a mistake, with Rowinter now retiring, sadly. But yeah, Tom made a mistake which cost him the DRS, and in the meantime, Frantic was pushing with his ERS, I believe, to get within the DRS, and now he's able to fight first for the win.
So Tom Rob not only is now going to be in a difficult position, if they do catch later on, it will be you'll run out of laps. Time penalty wise, it's going to be virtually impossible to break away. So we'll see. Of course, they're high tier drivers, so they'll be fighting on a different point system, so they shouldn't really need to fight too hard anyway. These two are going to be fighting for that victory. Verth is looking for his first victory in the championship as they missed out in Singapore. They compete basically every 2 weeks because they can't make it every time. That's what we're looking at right now. But they are going to be in a very good position to do so. Frantic knows what they're doing, though. They've won multiple races this season. We do see a hell of a battle going on with Jericho Willis, with Peanuts, as Jericho makes a big mistake, goes for the send, but is going to lose out immediately. And Barry Kruger is going to be incredibly frustrated because now, if you look at it, but all three of these cars are effectively still 3 seconds behind Chocolat, and that is, that's incredibly frustrating for Barry, who is the fastest car strategy-wise, and I think just is the fastest car on track right now.
Yeah, like I said, like first 4 laps, the mediums are quite good, but they will drop off quite quickly. And I don't think Barry made full use of the tires he had. Now it's gonna be really difficult for them to actually catch up to Chocolade. And maybe Chocolade is now in a really good position to just keep his 4th position and maybe even make up that 1.4 seconds to Tom to get within his penalty.
Yep, it's definitely possible. That would be a decent penalty advantage, of course. For the current tier drivers, it doesn't make a difference. We will see Peanuts and Barry switch positions as they go to take the racing line once again and try and take advantage of the slipstream. We're just going to have a look at the time penalty situation. Peanuts on 6, 3 seconds for Tom Robb. Then we've got 12 seconds for Becken, 3 seconds for Samaxon and Zaplatel, who are both on the same kind of penalty range, so they're going to be fighting for position. They're currently P11 and P12, almost within the point. So if somebody is to have an issue, they would look at a point, and that will be very valuable for Samaxon, who is looking at getting another non-points finish here in Austria, which is an absolute disaster. Of course, the start of this race wasn't really their fault. Disconnecting, they're able to get back in, luckily on second try of rejoining. But yeah, that's really tough to take there from the Polish driver. To the inside, Verf making that, making that move stick. Frantic is looking to get it on the exit, but DRS is available to the Sauber.
Yeah, I don't find it smart from both Frantic and Firth that they were fighting so much, because now Tom is back into the train. Even though he's an higher tier driver, you still kind of want to win this on track. But yeah, they weren't really working together like the last 2 laps.
Yeah, for sure. It's difficult. They don't need to worry too much. Time penalty wise, of course, they'll be fine. Frantic and Verf know that a higher tier driver does score different points. So I think they're probably not worrying about it too much, and they're just trying to make sure they keep each other on their toes before the final few laps. Now we do come to the kind of closing stages of this Grand Prix. You're going to have to really think in advance and save that energy so you can use it on the final couple of laps. But if you're only 3 cars, you're not really looking at fighting for the final 3 laps. You're kind of looking at fighting for the final 1 lap. Would you agree, Hush?
Yeah, definitely for the last lap. Like, they are fighting now already, but I think Firth making a mistake and Frantic taking advantage of it and now taking the lead back of him. But it doesn't really matter right now where you are, but you will definitely want to be P2, I would say, on the last lap, where you can overtake probably into turn 3 to take the win.
Yep, definitely. We'll see how that goes in a few laps' time. It's not long to the end of the Grand Prix. We are entering the end game phase of this race. Peanuts, Barry, Yurko still switching positions at this stage of the Grand Prix. We've got Terence with Brothers Cool and Becken in a battle right here. Becken still with that damaged car. It looks absolutely battered, but they're giving it their best shot. Terence on 11 lap old tyres compared to Brothers Cool 13 lap old hard tyres. This is going to be interesting towards the end of the Grand Prix, of course. They both don't have any time penalties. This is for points. We'll see how this one goes. But yeah, we've got a few battles kind of on track at the moment. We will once again see the top 3 look at going side by side. This time, though, Tom Robb is trying to have a go at making a move.
Yeah, I don't think Tom Robb is really gonna fight it too much. He knows he's a higher tier driver, so he doesn't really want to interfere in their fight. But it's been a pretty good race so far for Tom Robb, even though he gets not a penalty right now, so he will lose places at the end of the race as well, even though he already will. Yep,
for sure. It does mean that he's basically just going to have to try and let the cars fight ahead. I think if he stays out of their battle, or can maybe look at getting a double overtake, that's his best course of action, because he still needs just under 2 seconds to stay ahead of Chocolat, because obviously he's on a different point system, but he would still finish where he finishes. So if he can finish P3, that would be phenomenal. We'll see how that goes later on. Once again, Barry Peanuts switching positions. Yurko not able to get a move this time around, but they are so close and absolutely sending it, to be honest. It's not like it's simple DRS overtakes. Some of them are, but some of them are side by side now and again. Of course, if you've got the third car in the battle, they want to try and have a go. I'll be honest, the last 2 laps they've kind of relaxed. I've just spoken too soon as Peanuts immediately goes off track and the Red Bull's going to go through.
Yeah, he made a huge mistake. I think he just locked up his fronts, which caused him to go straight on, and the overtake he just made on the straight, he lost again on the next straight by the mistake. And for the rest, not much changed, I think.
No, not too much change. Beck and Terence have switched positions as Becker makes that work, but it was a hell of a side-by-side battle into turn 3, but didn't quite get the run. Did Terence there off the battery, so saving this time around. Now on lap 31 of 36. Currently, your race leader is frantic as Tom Robb just has a bit of a moment and does lose out a little bit too much, but they hopefully should be okay. Now, Verf is very close and just saving on the battery. Frantic is saving on the battery. They're both in exactly the same situation right now, just relaxing, which is incredibly difficult. We go to Peanuts, though, who is getting a lot of pressure to the cars behind, as it's going to be Yerko Willis ahead of Barry instead. That's something that we haven't seen, but they've gone off the track, and they've lost it. They've just about stayed ahead, or sorry, stayed on track and out of the wall, but they've lost DRS. That's exactly what we saw in the sprint race that almost lost everyone DRS. A second mistake at that corner in the same fashion, once again just about avoiding the wall, but that, I think, Heisch, is going to be it for their race.
Yeah, they are on old mediums. Those guys are on hards. Hards stay quite good for a long time, so I don't think they can do much from that position. But talking back to the lead train, I don't think Verf will actually go for an overtake at any lap. I think he's thinking, oh no, I'm wrong. He's going for it right now.
Taking it. Commentators, irony right there, not curse, just irony. All of a sudden, decides to go completely against whatever you're saying. There's a bit of contact as they got through turn 3. Now Tom Robb is going to try and push, I guess, to stay ahead. It would make sense. He's got basically no battery, so they have definitely pushed. Now this could be very interesting. If Verf and Frantic can stay with that McLaren, then they would be obviously having a bit of a spanner in the works. It would be brilliant for P2 in the train because they'll have a kind of a DRS assistance from the car ahead, and it cancels out the DRS behind. But that being said, Heischler, this game, it seems like being P3 in a train, you can still get a double slingshot and maybe make a move. That we've seen that so many times this race already. In this game, I think it's just a lot more easy to be P3 in the train with the aggressive ERS mode.
Yeah, I have some nightmares on that as well on this track actually, where Nepo and Singy overtook me into turn 4. But yeah, it's definitely possible. But yeah, you have to do it correctly. It's a bit of incident prone as well if you do it. But now Verf actually going for the overtake on Tom Robb. A bit slidey and a bit contact, which pushed Tom Robb off. But now we are back to the normal order with Verf instead of Frantic leading.
Yep, it's once again another switch up. Tom Robb now another penalty, which means they're going to end up even further behind. And as these guys battle, Chocolade is going to be in a even better position to get that penalty. It doesn't make a difference, but it's going to be Verf off the track. I do not believe it. They make a mistake in the closing stages of the Grand Prix. They might be able to hold on to DRS, but it could be over if they keep losing this momentum. They're just about staying ahead. They're not using the energy. I'm going to be honest. You've got a couple of laps to go. I'd make sure that I'm there because Frantic and Tom Robb could possibly both push right here and catch up or break away massively. I have to ask though, Heischler, Chocolate, 2.2 seconds. If these guys battle a bit more and they continue this, would we see the Alpine maybe have a go for the win?
Definitely. I found it quite big balls from Verf that he didn't use ERS there in the moment he made a mistake, because I would have definitely used it. He was nearly out of the DRS, but Chocolate is like getting closer and closer, even on the straights now. So I would be scared if I was in this leading train.
Yep, it's difficult. Tom Robb makes that move, tries to go for a bit of a slingshot move into turn 3, so Chocolade didn't gain as much as they would have if all these 3 cars were as close as they were, of course, in previous times, but still is catching up, and at this rate will be in DRS on the final lap. We're about to start the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, where Tom Robb leads. Frantic for the EU drivers does lead this race. Verf is on the limit of DRS, is going to have to start using the energy, and that's going to really hinder their chances of being able to win this Grand Prix on the last lap of this race. Now, Frantic, are they going to try and take the lead, or are they going to sit behind? This is a very crucial move, because it now allows Verf to catch up. They didn't go for the move. They're kind of slowed up because of the non-DRS car of Tom Robb. You have to try and choose what you want. Do you want to be ahead and get the slingshot, or are you going to just back off? Verf now gets a second chance at going for the win of this Grand Prix as we're about to start the final lap. Unfortunately, Chocolat not able to do enough right now. If these guys do start fighting so hard, it could be possible maybe to turn 4 that the Alpine could have a go, but at the moment it's going to be full focus on the top 3. Tom Robb leads. It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I'm expecting that both First and Frantic will overtake them into the turn 3, but then we'll see what happens into turn 4, with now starting the last lap with Chocolate really close behind, so maybe if an instance happens he can still get the win.
It's gonna be possible. Tom Robb exits the first corner on the last lap. Frantic will be making that move as they go to turn 3. Pressure put on by the Sauber. They look to the inside. They don't want to make the move. They want the DRS as Tom Robb has to leave the space. The Sauber's gonna probably get the better line. They're gonna get DRS. They're gonna get the toe. Tom Robb's trying to stay ahead. This is gonna change everything to the outside line. The Sauber will be forced. Will they find the exit? Will they find the switchback? No, they didn't quite get it right. Frantic will keep the momentum and will take a very nice gap as they go to the final few corners. Tom Robb lagged back, unfortunately. It doesn't make a difference on how this one will go, though. Frantic gets the gap as a slight misjudgment on the exit of turn 4. Frantic has just got 2 more corners to go, and they will win their 3rd race this season and lead the championship by a pretty big margin. Frantic wins the Austrian Grand Prix. Verf, another P2 in the end, gave it an epic shot but didn't quite get it, and Chocolat to P3. A phenomenal job for them. Tom Robb, Jericho Willis, we've got Peanuts in P6, then Barry Kruger will get that position on Peanuts, then we've got Terence in P8 for this Grand Prix. Bread is Cool will be right behind as well. They'll get promoted by 2 positions as well because of the higher tier drivers. They actually finish. That was an interesting one right there across the line. Simatson does get that P10 in the end, and they will get 2 extra positions. So they actually finish 8th and do score points to their championship, so they're very lucky there.
Wow, yeah, what a nice last lap there. I would say Firth's thinking was correct there by trying to go for the switchback, but he just about got it wrong with it, with hitting the rear of Frantic, sadly. But yeah, what a last lap and what a race we had.
Yeah, it was awesome. Frantic takes another win. Verf in P2. Then we got Chocolat in P3. Tom Robb, Jericho Willis, then Barry Kruger with fastest lap. We got Peanuts, Terence, Brothers Coulson, Maxon, Zaplatel, Becken, and DNFing earlier on was Rare Winter. We go through the race director as we always do, just in case. It's a big old one to go through at Austria, as it always will be. The track limits are tough. We go through the pit stop section. We'll be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome back to the post-race interviews of the Austrian Grand Prix. That was a crazy race, but we start with your race winner, Frantic. That's another victory this season. That is the championship lead. Can you take us through it? That was pretty intense at the end.
Yes, Frantic Gang, you know what to do. You know what to do, Frantic Gang.
Copyright.
Yeah. Oh, wait, really?
Yep.
It's a national anthem. No way, it's going to get copyrighted.
I don't know. It depends. It depends. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's all right.
All right, let's go, Frantic Gang. Copyrighted or not, this is gonna go down in the history books. That's amazing. Wow. I mean, I think like the DRS games, they were a bit dirty for me. Like I was slowing down on purpose, so that's kind of. I mean, it's kind of it's a shit way to win. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, it's a boring way to win. But I mean, at the same time, like, what else can I do? You know, like the DRS is so strong. I think my pace was a bit faster at the end. So, I mean, I kind of had to do something to get out of the DRS. But I mean, you know what? It's a dirty game. You know. I don't know what I'm saying actually. Yeah.
Fair enough. We'll just move on then. That was a great race from you, so well done. We move to your home Grand Prix in Zandvoort. Whether you can make it there or not, you like that circuit?
I mean, it is kind of my hometown, you know. I am from Zandvoort actually. I live there. I'm there right now, so looking forward to it. I mean, I think it's not my better tracks, but I mean, I said the same about Austria, and I won. You know, I mean, I think I might win there. You know, I'll go for the 5th win in a row.
Fair enough, fair enough. Thank you very much, Frantic. Really well done today. Well deserved. Congratulations on the championship lead. And we will see you next time.
Appreciate you.
And we move on to Chocolate. Welcome to the interview room. That was a brilliant effort at the very end. Of course, before the pit stops, everyone was very close together. Can you take us through your race?
Yeah.
There you go, we can hear you now.
Was a boring race. Nothing happened after the pit stops, and I made too many mistakes to be on the on the win side. So yeah, was not my best race.
Yeah, what do you think went wrong, making you miss out for the win? What would have been the bit that would have got you that extra kind of 1.5 seconds?
I probably pit the same lap as Frantic did, and also I hit the curb very often on the turn 5 or turn 6, I don't know, and a lot of half spins also in turn 1. So yeah, that was not good.
It's a difficult one. It's a very easy circuit to do that at, but you definitely learned a lot, I guess, going into future races. Of course, really good, especially compared to yesterday. You made a good comeback. So really well done today. It was really enjoyable to watch, and congratulations on the decent result at the end. Zandvoort is the next circuit. Do you like that circuit?
I'd rather walk through nails than do Zandvoort. I hate it. The track is I can't do sector 1, and sector 3 is shit as well, and then the whole track is shit. I only like the straight parts.
Fair enough. Well, in that case, then Austria is the best circuit on the calendar, bar Monza. But yeah, well done today. I hope it goes well next time, and maybe we can see you even further up the order. You deserve the points that you got, and I can't wait. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And we move on to Samaxon. Samaxon, that was a really difficult race, of course, not scoring points in the sprint. That being said, because there are higher tier drivers, you will get promoted, so you do actually score a few more points than what you would have expected from where you finished, so I'll double check that for you later on. But can you take us through your race? Of course, disconnecting at the end of qualifying there really made it very difficult, and no safety car, interestingly.
I was hoping for a safety car, which didn't happen. Had to drive with 10 seconds to the next car, and I managed to score at least 1 point. In the end, it's a weekend for me to forget. Yesterday also not a good race in sprint. I spun in the first turn, and then in the race, yeah, I didn't pit. And
Yeah.
today in the sprint, didn't manage to. Yeah, I invalidated my quali lap on the last turn, and then jumped the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything went wrong.
Yeah, we did see that, and it was looking like you're going to get pole, and unfortunately for that sprint race, of course, it didn't go too well. But you did everything you could. You finished the race, more importantly. I can say I think you scored about 4 points in the main race. I'm not sure about the sprint race, but you did score about 4 points in the main race, so it's not too bad. Although you definitely wanted a lot more. But going into Zandvoort, are you determined to make that work? High downforce, is that going to be suitable for you?
No, I don't expect a lot of pace from that track, but we will see how it goes.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Sir Maxon, and hopefully it goes better next time. As we move on to Terence. Terence, that was a difficult race. Unfortunately, it's not another podium of a fastest lap, but you still scored points, and you had a few battles as well, definitely.
No, I'm mad. Sorry for all the upcoming the harsh words. But the race is annoying and also upset me a lot. In the sprint, there was front wing damage again. In I believe it's turn 5 or turn it's lap 5 or lap 4, because I misjudge and can't predict the drivers in front onto turn 3. So I just try to drive safe and fast with my 50% damage from wing. So at least I got 1 point.
Yeah.
But in the first few laps, I know that I could know that my pace was strong, and that's probably the only good data I would got. And into the main race in turn 5, the first lap, I was the one who getting into the corner first, and then Peanuts is just on the right side of the track, I think, and so I assumed he would take a dive bomb as usually, but I don't know why he didn't give me space, so we crashed together in turn 5, yeah. And then so I got front damage again, so I have to put a 20% damage car into the finish line. So and again the battle with the racing booze and Beckens, but Beckens is always I can see him off the track and try to maximize all the corner exit. So I don't know, maybe he got the damage and he fight against his damage or the rubbish medium tires, but it still confused me because I have to do the successful overtake in the last lap. So maybe I got P9, maybe I got P8, but it's luckily I got past the racing boo, but yeah, not my race at all.
Yeah, that's a difficult one, and I'm sorry to hear that. Of course, you did get that damage. So yeah, I'm sorry for that. You gave it a good effort. Of course, you finished the end of the race. That was the second race that you've had that isn't really the result that you wanted. Of course, back with Singapore as well. Are you looking forward to Zandvoort? Obviously, you get a second or you get another opportunity to make it work. There isn't a sprint race, so it'll be more of a traditional race that you can focus on the main race, and yeah, will high downforce help you more?
Yeah. Actually, I got 40, 35
Right.
in Austria. So, uh, yeah, I still because I have no practice in this race, so I think I would do the same thing the next race.
Okay, fair enough. Well, hopefully it goes better next time. Thank you very much, Terence, for the effort today, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And we move on to Tom Robb. Finally, Tom, it was difficult with track limits, of course, but as a higher tier driver starting at the back, you definitely did a very, very good job. I think was that P4 in the end that you made it. So good points, and you did what you had to do.
Yeah, it was just a fun ride for me today. I didn't care for anything, so I think that was a lot helping. Because I didn't have any pressure. With the track limits, I just didn't care. Because it's not my championship, but I tried to stay inbounds as long as I was racing against someone, or as I was getting close to Verve together with Frantic, so no one gets an advantage because of me leaving the track. But yeah, I just wanted to have a good, clean race. I think I managed to do it. If I wanted to, I could have won it on track, but like I said, it's not my business on Saturday. So I just tried to stay behind both of them, or try to get past both of them at the same time, so no one would profit of me being in between them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, you did what you had to do. You did a very good job of staying out of the championship battle, so I appreciate that. And I'm sure the other guys do as well. So really, really well done today. Really good effort. Obviously, the time penalties weren't great there, but Zandvoort, that's a circuit where it's very difficult to get time penalties, because if you go over a curve, you kind of get punished anyway. Are you looking forward to that circuit?
Yes or no? It's quite okay circuit. Struggled a lot in the past, especially with the rear grip. But I think that could be fine. Could be good, could be bad.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully it'll be good. Thank you very much, and really good effort today. Well done, Tom, and we'll see you next time. And that's been it. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next weekend for the Dutch Grand Prix, for a normal Grand Prix this time. It's going to be a good one. I cannot wait. Thank you very much to Heischler for the comms box today. It has been a pleasure. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.